Portuguese explorer. He was born in Sabrosa in northern Portugal and served King Charles I of Spain in search of a westward route to the Spice Islands, modern Maluku Islands in Indonesia. Magellan's first expedition of 1519 to 1522 became the first expedition to sail from the Atlantic Ocean into the Pacific Ocean, then named Peaceful Sea by Magellan, the passage being made via the Strait of Magellan, and the first to cross the Pacific. It also completed the first circumnavigation of the Earth, although Magellan himself did not complete the entire voyage, being killed during the Battle of Mactan in the Philippines. Magellan also gives his name to the Magellanic penguin, which he was the first European to note, and the Magellanic clouds, now known to be nearby dwarf galaxies, kind of like dwarf planets, I guess. Magellan was born around 1480, either at the Via Nova de Gaia near Porto in Douro, Litoral Province, or at Sabrosa near Villarreal in Tres Os, I can't see it, Montes de Alto Douro province in Portugal. He was the son of Rodrigo de Magalhães, Alcaia de Moor of Aveiro, son of Pedro Alfonso de what the hell? Anyway, and wife of Alda de Mesquita and brother of Leonor de General de Magalhães, wife with issue of Jaio Fernandes Barbosa. After the death of his parents during his 10th year, he became a page to Queen Leonor of the Portuguese royal court because of his family's heritage. In March 1505, at the age of 25, Magellan enlisted in the fleet of 22 ships sent to host the Francisco de Almeida in the first Viceroy of Portuguese India. Although his name does not appear in the chronicles, it is known that he remained there 8 years in the Goa, Cochin, and Kion. He participated in several battles, including the Battle of Cananor in 1506, where he was wounded. In 1509, he fought in the Battle of Du, and later sailed under Diogo Lopes de Sequeira in the first Portuguese embassy to Malacca, and with Francisco Sarro, his friend and possibly cousin. In September, after arriving at Malacca, the expedition fell victim to a conspiracy ending in retreat. Magellan had a crucial role, warning Sequeira and saving Francisco Sarro, who had landed. This performance earned him honors and a promotion. In 1511, under the new governor, Afonso de Albuquerque, Magellan and Sarro participated in the conquest of Malacca. After the conquest, their ways parted. Magellan was promoted with a rich plunder, and in the company of Malay, he had indentured and baptized Enrique de Malacca, returned to Portugal in 1512. Sarro departed in the first expedition sent to find the Spice Islands in Moluccas, where he remained, having married a woman from Amboina and becoming a military advisor to the Sultan of Ternate, Bayan Sarula. His letters to Magellan would prove decisive, giving information about the spice-producing territories. After taking a leave without permission, Magellan fell out of favor. Serving in Morocco, he was wounded and got a permanent limp. He was also accused of trading illegally with the Moors. The accusations were proved false, but there were no further offers of employment after the 15th of May, 1514. Later on in 1515, he got an employment offer as a crew member on a Portuguese ship, but rejected. In 1517, after a quarrel with King Manuel I, who denied his persistent demands to lead an expedition to reach the Spice Islands from the east, while sailing westward seeking to avoid the need to sail around the tip of Africa, he left for Spain. In Seville, he befriended his countryman Diogo Barbosa and soon married his daughter by second wife Maria Caldera Beatriz Barbosa, having had two children, Rodrigo de Magalhães and Carlos de Magalhães, both of whom died at a young age. She would die in Seville around 1521. Meanwhile, he devoted himself to studying the most recent charts, investigating in partnership with cosmographer Ruy Valero a gateway from the Atlantic to the South Pacific and possibility of Moluccos being Spanish according to the demarcation of the Treaty of Tordesillas. The aim of Christopher Columbus's 1492 to 1503 voyages to the west had been to reach the Indies and to establish commercial relations between Spain and the Asian kingdoms. The Spanish soon realized that the lands of the Americas were not a part of Asia, but a new continent. In 1494, Treaty of Tordesillas reserved for Portugal the eastern routes that went around Africa, and Vasco da Gama and the Portuguese arrived in India in 1498. It became urgent for Spain to find a new commercial route to Asia, and after the Junta de Toro conference in 1505, the Spanish crown set out to discover a route to the west. Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa reached the Pacific Ocean in 1513 after crossing the Isthmus of Panama, and Juan Díaz de Solís died in Rio de la Plata in 1516 while exploring South America in the service of Spain. In October 1517 in Seville, Magellan contacted Juan de Aranda, factor of the Casa de Contratación. Then, following the arrival of his partner, Ruy Valero, and with the support of Aranda, they presented their project to the Spanish king, Charles I, future Charles V. Magellan's project was particularly interesting since it would open the spice route without damaging relations with neighboring Portuguese. The idea was in tune with the times. On March 22, 1518, the king named Magellan and Valero captains so they could travel in search of the Spice Islands in July. He raised them to the rank of commander of the Order of Santiago. The king granted them monopoly of the discovered routes for a period of 10 years. Their appointment as governors of lands and islands found with 5% of the resulting net gains. A fifth of the gains of the travel, the right to levy 1,000 ducats on upcoming trips, paying only 5% on the remainder. Granting of an island for each one, apart from the 6 riches, from which they would receive a 15th. The expedition was funded largely by the Spanish crown and provided with ships carrying supplies for 2 years of travel. Expert cartographer Jorge Reinel and Diogo Ribeiro, a Portuguese who had started working for Charles V in 1518 as a cartographer at the Casa de Contratación, took part in the development of the maps to be used in travel. Several problems arose during the preparation of the trip, including lack of money. The King of Portugal, trying suspicion from the Spanish and the difficult nature of Valero. Finally, thanks to the tenacity of